Continuing with transition elements, let us consider a few more questions of transition elements. The next question of transition element is, why do transition elements show variable oxidation states? Answer to this problem: since they have large number of n-1d and ns electron in their valence cells, so different reagents of different power can withdraw different number of valence electron and bring the transition metal ions in different oxidation states. For example, the reagents which are having more electronegative atoms, they have the tendency to excite the nd electrons and to participate in sharing with these electrons. But the species or the reagents which are not having electronegative atom or atoms which are having less electronegativity, when strike against transition metal, they can withdraw only ns electrons. So they are bringing the metal in the lower oxidation state, and the substances which have more electronegative atom, they can bring the metals in higher oxidation state. So it is due to similar energies of n-1d and ns electron, the different reagents of different strength can withdraw different number of electrons from their ions and can form different compound in different oxidation state. Then we have another question: discuss chemistry of chromyl chloride test for chloride ions. Now, chromyl chloride test is a confirmatory test for chloride ions during the salt analysis. If you are given with the chloride ions, then you will perform chromyl chloride test in the laboratory. This test is performed by taking the chloride salt in a test tube and then adding to it concentrated sulfuric acid and potassium dichromate mixture. On heating, we'll get the reddish brown vapors of chromyl chloride, which are highly dangerous, orange colored or reddish colored vapors. They are highly dangerous and they should not be smelt, and windows and your doors of the laboratory, they should be kept open so that these vapor they diffuse out of your lab. Otherwise, if they are inhaled, they can cause swelling in our lungs. That's why this test has to be performed very carefully. Now, what is the chemistry of chromyl chloride test? K2Cr2O7 combines with 4KCl in the presence of sulfuric acid concentrated. You will get 6KHSO4 in this case, plus you will be having a chromyl chloride vapor CrO2, Cl2, plus you will have water molecules in this case. So we get potassium hydrogen sulfate during this test, 3 water molecules are obtained. We get 6KHSO4, 2 molecules of chromyl chloride, they are obtained. K2Cr2O7 plus 4KCl plus 6 molecules of H2SO1, they are heated. These are the dangerous orange reddish vapors. So this is the chemistry of chromyl chloride test, very important test for chloride ion. Now give some point of differences and similarities. Similarities between lanthanoids and actinoids. First point is both show +3 as common oxidation state. दोनों में +3 स्टेट बहुत ज़्यादा कंपाउंड्स में दिखाई जाती है. बोथ शो contraction in sizes from left to right In case of lanthanoid, it is called as lanthanoid contraction. In case of actinoid, it is called as actinoid contraction. In both the series, n minus 2 F subcell is progressively filled. Both series show contraction in sizes, both have low electronegativity value and are very reactive. Both series possess low electronegativity value. They have low electronegativity value, and in spectrum of both the elements, FF transition is observed. Elements of both series FF transition is observed. Their separation becomes difficult due to their lanthanoid and actinoid contraction. Their properties become similar, so they are difficult to be separated from each other. Explain why and how oxygen and fluorine stabilize the higher oxidation states. So this is our 10th question. So our 10th question is, explain why and how oxygen and fluorine stabilize oxidation state, and which one is better stabilizer. कौन ज़्यादा ऑक्सीडेशन स्टेट को स्टेबलाइज करता है. So oxygen and fluorine, they both act as the oxidation state stabilizer due to their high electronegativities. Fluorine, you know, it is known as superhalogen due to its high electronegativity. It can stabilize the higher oxidation state by keeping hold on the electrons of transition metal ions. And oxygen is second most electronegative element. That's why it also has the tendency to stabilize the higher oxidation state. But oxygen is far more superior than fluorine because of its capability to form multiple bonds. It can form multiple bonds with partially filled d orbitals of the transition metal ions and stabilizes the oxidation state to more extent as compared to that of fluorine. Then biatomic and ionic radii, biatomic and ionic radii of 4D and 5D series are similar. So they are almost similar. The reason for this is it is due to poor shielding effect of the 4f and 5f electrons. Their contraction in sizes in both the series, due to contraction in sizes after just half of the series, their sizes almost become similar. Their properties also become similar. So in case of the 4D series, that is second transition series, 5D, that is third transition series, in this series, when we move left to right, then nuclear charge continuously increases, therefore size tends to decrease, it happens up to middle of the series, but after middle of the series there is a poor shielding effect of the f sub cell electrons. So these electrons, they do not shield the outer electrons from the nuclear attraction. That's why the outer cell, they are pulled nearer to the nucleus and sizes almost remain constant after half of the series. That's why we say the properties, they also remain similar, they are also not changing much, and their sizes become similar, so their properties, they get also become similar. Then we have the question, write electronic configuration of few ions, Cr3 positive ion, Mn2 positive ion, Fe3 positive ion. So when a question like this happens, Cr3 positive ion, you have its atomic number 24 minus 3, it is 21 electrons are left here. Now it will be having argon core. So after argon it is 18 electrons, 3 electrons are left, so we'll be having 3d1 4s2. So chromium will now have this configuration 3d1 4s2. These electrons, they are actually lost during the formation of tri-positive ion, so all the electrons, they will be present in 3d, so it will be having 21 electrons. Initially it was having a configuration of like this, Cr argon core, then we have 4s2 3d4 3d5 4s1 was there, क्योंकि ये सिमेट्री फैक्टर के कारण ऐसा कन्फिगरेशन है. When it forms Cr3 positive ion, it will lose one electron from here, 2 from here, it will be getting 3d3 configuration. If you have Mn2 positive ion, atomic number is 25, lost 2, it will be 3, so its configuration will be Ar 3d 4s, 4s will be lost, Ar is 18, so 23 electrons are to be shown initially with Mn. So Mn will be having 18 plus 4s2 and 3d 3, it will be showing 23 electrons. When it becomes Mn2 positive, it will be losing s electrons. 3d5 will be the configuration initially, it loses 2 electrons, it will be 3d5 now. Then we have Fe3 positive ion. So first of all we have iron 26, configuration is argon 3d4s2, argon is 18, 4s2 20, it is having 6 electrons. When it becomes tri-positive, it will acquire the same configuration as acquired by Mn2 positive 3d5, 2 plus 1 electron, they are lost. So this is the way how to write the electronic configuration in case of the ions. You must know the atomic numbers of the whole series. When atomic number is known, there is no problem in solving these types of question. You memorize the first series element, Shakti, Vakar, Manfi, Koni, Kujan. Scandium is 21, zinc is 30. So these are the atomic number in between 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9 and 30. So if you memorize the series in a sequence, Shakti, Vakar, Manfi, Koni, Kujan, then there is no problem in memorizing the atomic number of these elements. Then we have next question, why mercury is liquid while other transition elements, they are solid? The reason for this is mercury has completely filled d subshell, due to which covalent bonding among its atom is not possible. Moreover, it has weak metallic bonding due to large size of its metallic atom. So due to both of these factors, presence of weak metallic bonding and absence of covalent bonding among its atom, which both of these factors, they reduce the interatomic force. That's why mercury exists as a liquid. Then we have very important question, what are Coinage metals? Why mercury is liquid? Because of weak metallic bonding and absence of covalent bonding among mercury atoms. Due to filled d subshell, it don't have the partially filled d orbital, so it does not form the metallic bonds. Covalent bond and metallic bond is weak, that's why it exists as a liquid. Then we have another question, That question is, what are coinage metals? The metals which are used in the preparation of coins in different eras, so they are copper, silver and gold. This triad of element is called as coinage metals. Since they are used in the preparation of coins from time to time, that's why. What are ferrous metals? Now, metal triad which are having the properties similar to iron, they are called as ferrous metal. These are three metal Ficoni. These are ferrous metals. Since they have the properties similar to iron, that's why they are called as ferrous metals. Then we have the right general electronic configuration of transition metal atoms. So they are having general configuration. So general configuration will be n minus 1d, 1 to 10 electron they are being filled. And then we have ns 0 to 2 electron they are filled. This is the general configuration of transition metal ions. Explain on the basis of valence bond theory why FeH2O6 is paramagnetic in nature. Explain on the basis of valence bond theory why Fe(H2O6) tripositive is paramagnetic in nature. We have just seen oxidation state Fe3 positive where it has the configuration 3d3 along with argon core. So it has 5 unpaired electrons in the valence shell. That's why it is highly paramagnetic, or it acquires ferromagnetism. So paramagnetism, as we know from the solid state chemistry, if it has unpaired electrons, the species having unpaired electron, they are attracted by the applied magnetic field. If they are having more number of unpaired electrons, they are called as ferromagnetic substances, since they can have more attraction towards the applied magnetic field. Then there is a question why Mn2 positive and Fe3 positive, they possess the same magnetic moment. The reason for that is both of them, they are having 5 electrons in the valence shell or n-1d subshell. That's why when we put the value in mu effective result, will have same result. Mu effective, that is effective magnetic moment, that is given by n plus 2. So number of electrons, it is 5. And 5 plus 2, you will be having 35. Under root 35, it will give the same result. So they have the same magnetic property. Now there is a question out of LaOH. Lanthanum trihydroxide and lutetium trihydroxide, which one is strong base? As we know, La comes in the beginning of the series. Lanthanoid starts from La, and Lu comes in the end of the series. The size of the Lu is smaller than the size of lanthanum. Therefore, whenever the hydroxide of lanthanum is put in water, it will immediately produce OH negative ions. When OH negative ions they are produced, it is strong base. While in case of the lutetium, the size of lutetium is small, so it will be having strong bonding with OH group. Therefore, it will not easily liberate the OH ions in the aqueous medium. That's why it is a weak base. Why transition element have high enthalpy of hydration? This is very important question. Why transition elements ions have high enthalpy of hydration? It is due to their small sizes and high effective nuclear force. They get solvated heavily. They are surrounded by more number of water molecules in the aqueous medium. And when there is more water molecules surrounding a transition metal ion, it will release more energy, which is called as hydration energy. So due to their small sizes and high effective nuclear charge, they trap large number of water molecules around them and they release large number of energy. Then why scandium is colorless, Mn2 positive is colored, CO2 positive is also colored. The reason for that is Mn2 positive, Sc3 positive, it has no electron in the d subcell to excite them by absorbing some wavelength from the incident light. On the other hand, Mn2 positive have 5 unpaired electrons, cobalt 2 positive had also unpaired electrons in the d subcell. So when visible light falls on these ions, they absorb some part of the incident light and they so DD transition, the electron from d subcell, they are excited within d subcell or from one d subcell to another higher d subcell, for which a very small amount of energy is needed. That energy they get from the visible light, and that's why the visible light, when it gets reflected from their surface, it appears to be the colored light, because it is having a mist of some color which have been absorbed by transition metal ion to show the your transition, DD transition. That's why they are colored. We can explain the color of one such complex, that is titanium, hexa aqua titanium complex. Explain the color of hexa aqua titanium 3 complex. So this is our question number 15. Explain color of hexa aqua titanium 3 complex. Since water is neutral ligand, therefore we see the electronic configuration of titanium tripositive. This charge is present on titanium. Its configuration will be 3d0, 3d1, 4s0. So in the d subcell, it is having five orbitals and it has only one electron. This is the condition of tripositive ion. When water comes in contact with it, it splits the d subcell into two parts. This is hexa aqua titanium 3 complex. It is having two set of d orbital. Lower set is called as T2G set and upper set is called as EG set. Lower set contains electron. When visible light falls on it, it absorbs green color from that light, and the remaining colors, they will become the color of this complex. The electron absorbs light and it will move into the higher orbital. And now this complex will be appearing purple. The remaining colors, purple is reflected. So this is the explanation of color of any complex. This is shown by DD transition within the D subcell. The ligand field of water, it is capable of splitting the D subcell of titanium into two parts, and the lower part keeps the electron because that is a more stable state. When light falls, this electron being mobile, it absorbs that energy and moves to the higher level, and the energy absorbed is green. The reflected color, the remaining color, they will be purple. So this complex will be appearing purple. So this is regarding the important question of transition metals. That in next lecture we will be taking coordination chemistry.